Today, I'm going to talk about how to get more out of your workouts. So, this is for those of you that are struggling like with some creativity, or if if you write a lot of sets that are just like 10 100s, 10 50s, 10 25s, like of the same thing, and you're probably getting results because, as long as you do stuff, you most likely will get better. But I'm going to show you how to get more and not just get more, but get better engagement. So, I've made a previous video of like how to make things a little more fun, that sort of thing. And you can look at engagement and fun in the same category. But the goal here is engagement and focus because if you can get your athletes more engaged and focused on the task, they are going to get more out of that task. Okay. So here's my first one. And this is the easiest because you can do it with literally every single age group. If they can count, they can do this. And it's counting strokes. You will see a lot of coaches do stroke count work, especially you'll see them do stroke count work inside of warm-ups and even inside of main sets. I use them inside of main sets. A lot of coaches do as well. But counting strokes is so huge. One, because it makes your athletes more aware. It turns their brain on a little bit more while they're swimming. And then you, as the coach, you can follow up and coach them through stroke counts. This happens every time I do stroke counts early in the season with a group of kids who are not used to doing stroke counts is we'll do 25s. 25s free. Okay, what's your stroke count? They're telling me numbers, and then they're just looking at me, and they want to know what is good. And this is where the coach comes in, and you need to show them what is good, right? For 11 and 12-year-olds, let's start with 10 and unders. If we have a 10 and under that is taking 20 strokes or less per 25 free, we're moving in the right direction, right? That's not a super high bar, and it's a very obtainable bar for a lot of athletes. 11 12s, 16 to 18 strokes is fantastic. This is just freestyle. 13 14s, we want them between 13 to 15 would be really good. And then our senior level athletes, we want them 10 to 12 strokes. A lot of our male athletes, we have them doing 10, 11 strokes per 25. Our female athletes going 11, 12 strokes per 25. And that's really good. And for you don't need to know like what the magic number is for stroke counts. You just need to have a baseline. You need to know where your swimmer's at and can you get better. Now, of course, if you do stroke count work, you're gonna have some kids who are really milking it, and it's almost like not even real freestyle. So just do some coaching on your end. Make sure you talk to them. Make sure it's a real freestyle where they're really going. So stroke counts is a great way to not only check where your swimmers are at that day, but to keep them engaged. And also, you will give them a win. If you tell your whole team, I need everybody to be 16 or under. For some kids, reaching that 16 is going to be good. It's going to be a big deal. Some kids are going to be like, okay, how low can I get this with a good stroke? We'll have some kids who hardly do underwaters on their own, but when we do stroke count work, man, they're going to do 5 underwater kicks every single wall. And as you get better at this and more advanced, you don't just do 25s. My favorite thing to do is 75s or 100s. And I say we call them matchy-matchy or stroke count match. But can they have the same stroke count every single 25? Because it's so easy to have a good stroke count just pushing off for a 25. But if you have to do a 75 where every 25 has to have the same stroke count, then their turns are going to be better, their underwater is going to be better, their breakouts are going to be better, their technique is going to be better as well. So the goal is, like if we're doing 75s, can you be 12, 12, 12 on those stroke counts or 100? And then the last like spice to add on to this, and we do call these matchy-matchy, where let's say it's like 50s free, can you get your time and your stroke count to match, right? So can you go a 30 in a 50 free in 30 strokes? Of course, if you go under, that's still good. And we call that, I've heard it called like SWOLF, like swimming golf. I just like to call it golf or lowest score possible. You take your stroke count and you add it to your time, and that's your score. So lowest score wins. So maybe you can go a 30 in that 50, but you do it in 26 strokes, right? So your score is 56, 30 plus 26. And then when you start getting into the things with like math and things like that, you will need some training and some prep. I think almost all age groups can do that. Just probably not on day one. They'll just take a long time to add it together because they're not used to it. And this is the beautiful part. The more you do it, the better your athletes will get at adding it together. And it's not because they get better at math, it's because they know around how good they are. They know that when I do these 50s, I'm around 30 to 33 usually. And my stroke count is around 26 to 30, that sort of thing. And your athletes will know. So they'll also start getting a better baseline for their own swimming. Like, I love when I talk to my athletes and I ask them, hey, what's a good stroke count for you? And these are like seventh grade boys who don't pay attention to anything. That's a little harsh, but I mean, come on, seventh grade boys, little spacey on things. And when I ask them like, hey, what's a good stroke count for you? And they're like, oh, 14. And it's like, boom, they know they're swimming. Their athlete IQ just went up. I could do a whole nother episode on athlete IQ. But so stroke counts are so good. Stroke count matches are a great challenge. Matchy, lowest score possible. I mean, there's just so many things you can do with stroke counts, and then you end up getting good work out of it. So I love doing sets where we do 25s or 50s where we're getting our stroke count, and then we do maybe 25s at 100 pace or 50s at 200 pace, that sort of thing. And they also have a stroke count goal. So for you, there's a lot of things you could decide, like what's a good stroke count. But really, what you need to know is take a look at where your athletes are at right now. Start counting strokes. You count their strokes. Get them to start counting strokes. And just start developing a baseline for your team. You don't need to shoot for the magic number of 14. You just need to make your kids better. And if you move them in the right direction, that will be good to go. The next thing you can do to get more engagement, more out of your swims is underwater work. And some of us will go straight to every 50 you're going to do 5 underwater kicks every single wall. And if your group has never done that before, some will do okay, but a lot will struggle because underwaters are hard and holding your breath is hard, right? And not just hard as in like physically it's hard. It takes some mental toughness to stay underwater. Like, it's uncomfortable to just hold your breath underwater. You also don't want to just throw out something hard to your kids because it's hard. But underwaters are such a great way to mix up things and to make it a bit harder. Like, you'll get that heart rate jacked up doing less. So I love doing things where we go 25s and it's like, okay, 10 25s this, but you got to go halfway underwater every wall. Okay, not a big deal, easy, or even double pullouts. But I really love doing stuff where you go 25s and you go 15-meter swim, and then at the end you dive down and go underwater. So that is a little more fun. It's a little more engaging, but they're still getting good underwater work, and that's what you want. You want to see good work. So there's a lot of different things you can do with underwaters, a lot of different ways you can mix it up. You can do 25s and 50s where you start with, let's say vertical kick. So you'll do 10 25s on 40, but before you start this 25 butterfly, you have to do 10 vertical dolphin kicks, and this is part of the interval. So they'll do them quick. Hopefully they do them well. Really emphasize the technique there. 10 vertical fly kicks. They'll push off, swim 15 meters butterfly, and at the end, they're going to dive down underwater. So, okay, we're just doing 25s, right? But here's a couple elements. So we're doing vertical fly kicking with good technique. They're on an interval, so they're going to do them fast, just naturally, without you saying a whole bunch of things about it. They're going to do fast underwaters. Then they're going to push off, and they're going to do some underwaters on the push, again, just naturally. And then they're only going to do 15 meters butterfly, which to a kid, when you're not doing whole 25s or whole 50s fly, they just do it better because in their mind, they're like, oh, I don't have to swim a million yards butterfly. I just have to go 15 meters, which depending on the size of the kid, they're going to take anywhere from 5 to 8 strokes, but those strokes are going to be good. So you just got quality butterfly strokes. And then you're going to dive down and finish underwater. And for some of your kids, this might be challenging because they just did butterfly. So they're going to try to get from that 15-meter mark to the wall as fast as they can underwater. And I promise you, if you do 10 25s like that on 40, faces will be red. You'll have quality underwater work, quality kick work, quality butterfly swimming. And that is the name of the game. The name of the game is quality strokes. And who can get the most quality strokes out of their workouts are really going to excel. You can get into the training elements of, is this aerobic capacity? Is this anaerobic capacity? Whatever you want. At the end of the day, you really need to just do good work. And there are coaches and programs who really need to dial in the amount of volume they're doing at certain energy systems. But I've said this before, most of us are not there. Most of us are still in the everything makes you better range, and you're trying to make your athletes more athletic. And they don't just wake up athletic. It takes intention, it takes focus, and it takes engagement. So, as you're writing workouts, stroke counts and underwaters, there's just so many different ways you can mix it up into a workout that kind of turn that brain on better. And of course, I love rewards and punishments. I do a little bit of both. If they don't hit the underwaters, there's this punishment, or if they do hit the underwaters, there's this reward. So keep an eye out for that. But if you're looking for ways to spice up your practice or just to get more out of what you're doing, not necessarily fun, just more, better strokes, I promise you, doing these things and your athletes knowing how well they did, you will get more fun out of it. So hope this helps. Again, in my Swim Coach Launchpad that you can get at my website, betterswimcoach.com, I talk a lot about writing better workouts, building team culture, and I even break down all 4 strokes for you guys to analyze and look at the drills that I use. And just like most of the content that I put it out in the simplest form possible so you can use it as quickly as possible to become the coach you are meant to be. You guys have a great week, and let's go be better coaches.